How you think of playing your melody lines in your songs could be the very thing that keeps you stuck in the mud, sounding like a very basic pianist, or it could be the thing that takes you to the next level. So if you master the 4 levels that I'm going to show you here in this video, you can take your melody lines from sounding like this Okay, that's Yesterday by the Beatles, and you can make them start sounding like So let's dive into it. Here in level 1, what we're gonna go over is Elvis Presley's I Can't Help Falling in Love with You. So what I'd like to do here in level 1 is I'm gonna take my sweet time and hold your hand all the way through some theory, very simple theory, some fingering, and of course the chords of the song, so that you know how to play wise men say, and then only fools rush in. Okay, we're gonna go over that here in level 1, and then eventually we're gonna learn how to go. Okay, so we're not going to learn how to do that, okay? But you're going to eventually learn how to fill out your song by the end of this video and sound like that. So step number 1 here is to recognize the structure of the chords. So with my left hand, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through just this first part of Elvis Presley's song with my left hand pinky finger, my 5 finger in my left hand, okay? It's really important that you use your pinky finger because you want to leave your 2 finger and the rest of your fingers, like your thumb, you want to leave those available to fill out. Notice how I'm going here, and then eventually you could do stuff like this. Okay, so you can start filling things out. I'll teach you a little bit more about that, but you want to use your pinky finger. So the chords of the song are structured like this. It goes a C chord to an E minor chord, so wise men, and then to an A minor chord, okay? Only F chord in our left hand. So I'm going to, if it says an F chord, then my left hand's going to an F note as its root or its foundation. Okay, so only fools, and then we go to a C chord, rush, and back to the G chord, rush in, and that's what we're working on here in this video. So one more time with the left hand, let's just get some of these foundations down, and hopefully by the end of this video, I'm going to be able to show you how I think about filling out my melody lines to sound a little bit more professional and soulful on the piano. So, wise men, E minor, to the A minor say, and we're going to go to the F here. Only fools, C chord, and then to the G chord. So master just your left hand doing that with your pinky, okay? And once you can have that down, we're going to jump into the right hand. So pause the video here, see if you can master just the left hand doing that, and then we're going to go over the right hand. Now the right hand is doing something very interesting right off the bat in level 1 here. I want you to notice that instead of going wise men say, so notice that I'm hitting the melody line, that's the part that you hum of the song. I'm hitting it with, instead of with my thumb, like a lot of you guys might be inclined to do. It makes sense, wise men say. Instead of that, notice I'm going to use my 2 fingers. So wise men say, why am I doing that? Because in the levels that follow, what we're going to do with our thumb is going to anchor the bottom on a bottom note to fill out our melody line. So we need to leave our thumb open. So the way I'd like you to practice the melody line is on a C note here. So 2 black notes into the left, I'm on middle C with my 2 finger in my right hand. We're working on the melody now, and I'll put the hands together, and then don't worry, I'm just taking my time here, but we're going to get into levels 2, 3, and 4 and really understand how to fill things out. I just got to have the groundwork covered here for you guys. So your 2 fingers on a middle C, so wise, and then notice my pinky in my right hand is going to go all the way up to that G note. So wise men say. Now here, my 3, 4, and 5 finger, my middle, ring finger, and pinky in my right hand are going to find the next notes in the scale. We'll talk a little bit more about that in this video. Only fools. So what did I do there? From my middle C position, notice each of these 3 fingers here has a white note, finding a home for each of my fingers. Okay, so only fools. And then we walk back down, rush in. So that's all our right hand is doing today. So we go, wise men say, only fools rush in. Now, if we put the hands together, there is an element of having instinct on when to change your chords. I'll show you a little bit more of how to think of the rhythm. But you might even have this down just from watching YouTube videos or trying to learn songs all on your own. So we're going to go, wise men say. So those are the first 3 chords with the melody line. And then watch what the right hand does. Only. And then when I hit this F note, that's when my left hand will go to an F chord here. So only fools rush in. And this is what I would call level 1 of playing your chords, the most basic form of your songs. And you may have this down already, but practice getting level 1 down here. And now we're going to jump into level 2. What we're going to do in level 2 here is your left hand is now going to find the rhythm of the song. Now this is really important for you to be able to go. So you see how I have such a good flow there? It's really important that you're able to find the rhythm of the song in the left hand. So what you're going to do in the left hand now is you're going to pump on quarter notes. This is the pulse of the song. So you're going to do 2 pulses on each of these chords with your pinky. You're going to go wise and men. 2 pulses, 1 and 2, 3 and 4. Now notice on this A minor that instead of hitting 2 counts, I hit 4 counts. So I misspoke. I thought I said that, you know, each of the chords is going to have 2 counts. No. When you get to this A minor, it's going to be a total of 4 counts. So we have 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4. Only fools 2 and rush. 2 counts there, in, and 4 counts here. Now, what I like to do on my chord charts is I like to write a little number right on the top corner of my chords for how many pulses or counts I'm on the chord. So something's coming on the screen here, a visual for you to show you how I would write a 2 right above the C chord. I would write a 2 on the E minor chord and then a 4 on this A minor chord. Okay. Then the F chord would have 2 counts, only fools, and the C chord has 2 counts, and then the G chord has 4 counts, 2 and 3 and 4. Okay, so you can do that for yourself. This is level 2. What's level 2? Did you catch it? It's a left hand pulsing on each of the counts. Now, this gives a lot of depth to your song, and level 2 here is incredibly important. Now, if we were to put it together with our right hand, it might sound something like this. 1, wise and men, and say. Now 4 counts here. Now we're going to the F chord. Only fools 2 and rush and in. A total of 4 counts. Now, in level 2 here, what you can do to really start giving even more dynamic to your playing is understand a little bit of theory in your left hand. What am I doing here? Notice that now I'm going to be hitting 2 notes in my left hand to fill things out. What I'm doing here is I'm using 5th interval of my chords to accomplish a thicker sound. So instead of just hitting single notes in my left hand and pulsing on the quarter note, kind of the beat of the song, what you can do for level, I guess, 2.5 here is add in the fifth interval for each of the chords in the left hand. I'll talk a little bit more about that right now. Only fools, watch this, rush, and then in. What's a good way to think about finding your fifth interval? You could use your ear, okay? But there's two ideas that I'd like to talk to you about. The first idea is your major scales. Now, let's pause here in the video and talk about this because I want to make sure to cover all bases for people that don't have, basic knowledge of the piano. I know going into this tutorial, when I hit record on all of my cameras, I know that since I'm playing in the key of C major, that all the white notes are available to me to play in this key signature. What that means is there's a group of 7 notes. There's groups of 7 notes on the piano that sound good and work well with one another. So in the key of C, I know that with my major scale here, that these 7 notes based off the major scale, and I'll teach you a little bit about major scales shortly here, but these 7 notes are all friends. They all like to hang out with one another. Sometimes I describe it like this. When you were in grade school, you had your specific friends that you would hang out with, your group of friends, your posse, the people that you just gelled with, right? And even, as an adult, you have specific people you like to hang out with. Well, the same thing goes for notes on the piano. There's 88 keys here. How do you start thinking of these keys and grouping them together to figure out which notes work well with one another? Well, it turns out you need to learn your major scales, and the major scales identify 7 notes. It's always 7 notes that work well with one another. So for instance, if we were to create a D major scale, I would know that using the major scale formula that I'm not allowed to hit an F note, so notice how I'm skipping this, or a C note. Watch this C note here. I'm skipping this C note here. So I know in the key of D, when I'm playing anything in the key of D, see how I'm going to this note instead of the F note? Let's see what happens when you go to the F note. So watch this. Watch my right hand. Ooh, that sounds terrible. If I hit that playing live in church or just live on a band, that would sound terrible. Now, why does it sound terrible? Well, it's not part of our major scale. And so it's not part of that group of friends that likes to hang out. It's not part of the group of keys that sound good together. So I know that I'm skipping F when I'm in the key of D major. Let's go back to the key of C major. So we're shifting gears here. We're now talking about a completely different group of 7 notes for this song, Elvis Presley's I Can't Help Falling in Love with You. We're talking about the group of notes titled the C major scale. So the notes here, I've played them a couple times. These are the 7 notes that like to hang out with one another. Now, how did I figure that out? Well, the way that you figure it out is you use the major scale formula. So if I'm saying I'm playing in the key of C major, or you look online and you find a chord chart that says Elvis Presley's I Can't Help Falling in Love with You, key of C major, you need to think to yourself, how do I find the 7 notes that like to hang out with one another? You start on C, and from C, you go what's called a whole step on the piano. That means you skip one note, the next note on the piano, which would be directly to your right. That's the next note on the piano, right? So we skip that note and go to the next one. So you're going to do a total of 2 of those movements. So it goes like this. First note, which we call root. This is the major scale formula. First note, root. Then we go whole step, whole step. So that means I'm going from root. I'm identifying the 7 notes that like to work well with one another. And then I'll get back to level 2 here, showing you what I'm doing with my left hand. Wise men say, and I'm going to show you something really cool on level 2 here before we continue on to level 3 and 4. So I have root, which is just my first note of the scale. So it's a C major scale, so we'll start on a C note. From here, you're going to skip one note, skip that note, and go to this note. And then we're going to do another movement like that, which we're calling a whole step, okay? So we skip that one and go here. Then the major scale formula tells us the next move is called a half step. So if these are whole steps, you should understand then that a half step means, just go to the next note. So if I'm right here, the next note, half step up the piano to the right would be what? It would be right here. So this F note. So we've identified 4 of the 7 notes so far of our major scale. So we have this, we go whole step. So we're going to skip this, we go whole step, skip this, and go to there, land, and then half step. So root, whole, whole, half. And your thumb can come under here. Let's not worry so much about fingering, but that's the proper way to do things. My thumb comes under to F. Now we need to identify 3 more notes. So from F, the major scale formula tells us to do whole, 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 half. So that means from here, we skip this, we do another whole step, skip this one, land, one more whole step, skip this one, land. Notice that we're identifying all of the notes here, and then you end with a half step at the end, which is a C note, and you hit a C note down here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This 8th note, we're not calling it the 8th note again because we already hit a C. So I'm calling it 7 groups of notes that like to hang out with one another. If you did this in the key of D, the same idea would apply. You just start from D here. You say root, which is your first note. Then you go whole, whole, half. So, and then half. So here's the first 4 notes of the scale. Remember, I was just showing you that example in the key of D, how we skipped F. Now you know how it works. So we go whole, skip this one, go to this one. That's another whole step. So you see from here to here how we're skipping one note. It's this one. That's your whole step. So we have root, whole, whole, half. So from here, the next note up is not here. Notice it's right there. That's half. And then whole, 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 half. Now, let's go into what we were talking about with our left hand. I said there's 2 things you have to remember in order to accomplish your left hand hitting these 5th intervals. The first is your major scale, and that's what we just went over. So why am I saying that? I'm saying that because when you're trying to find the 2nd note in your left hand, you have to think to yourself, well, I know the major scale has all white notes. There was no sharps or flats, right? We're not hitting black notes. No, it's all white notes. So you know that when you're trying to find with your left hand 2 finger, the 5th interval, which is the complement to your chord, that it needs to be a white note. So wise men, and then say, notice my 5th interval for all of these is a white note. Only fools, and then rush in. Now, what's the second thing you need to think about as you're trying to identify your left hand 5th interval to fill out your song? You need to think about spacing. So instead of playing down here, let me just come up here for a second. This is what I'm talking about. Recognize that music is very mathematical. At least that's how I like to think of it. I have a civil engineering degree. I did that for many years until my YouTube channel took off. And so I think very numerically about things. Check this out. This is going to blow your mind. You need to start understanding spacing in between, your chords and what you're playing. And so what these are called in music is they're called intervals. But more than thinking about, intervals and learning all of that theory, a very practical way to think about how you're structuring your melody lines so that they're more full and your left hand in 5th intervals is you need to think about the notes in between that you see someone playing. So if I'm saying, hey, play this for a C chord, this is called a root and 5th. What you can think is, Nick, how many notes are in between this? Well, let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 notes in between that. The next chord is an E minor here. How many notes? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The next chord is an A minor. Okay, right? I'm just playing it up in the middle of the keys here so that you can have a better view of things. Obviously, when we play our song, we're going to play it down there. How many notes are in between this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Are you seeing a pattern here? When you're playing your 5th intervals in a key signature, more often than not, you're going to have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 notes in between your spacing. And that's a way that you can check yourself when you're playing these chords. So you have wise men say, and then only fools. This is our F chord. If you're inclined to hit this and think that that sounds good, you can check yourself at home and say, is this a 5th interval like Nick was teaching me? No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 notes in between. That's not it. Only fools. That's it right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Only fools and then rush and in. Look at our G chord here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So each of these chords has a total of 6 notes in between them when you're playing the root and fifth in your left hand. To close out level 2 here, what I'm going to show you is with your left hand. On beat number 1, you hit both of your chords, and then your left hand pumps on this 2 finger. This gives you such a rich sound. If you can get this down, it's so beautiful. Just level 2 here. Listen to how it sounds. Watch my left hand. See how it's pumping? 4 counts. Now 2 counts here. Hit all together in the left hand, then the left hand just 2 finger just takes over and pumps on the quarter note. I can't help falling in love with you. Okay, so level 2 is your left hand needs to learn how to pump on the quarter note. And if you want to take it a step further, instead of just pumping a single note in your left hand, you can pump the 5th interval. Wise men say 4 counts here. So the left hand plays 4 counts. Notice I hit beat number 1, hands together, left hand pinky stays down while my left hand just completes the total 4 counts. That's the second one. So here's 1, here's 2, just the 2 finger 4 right there, and then wow, boom. And then you have that. Okay, so notice just on level 2 here how you're really finding a way to think about a little bit of theory and filling out your melody lines. The left hand is really going to complement the right hand melody line so much better if you can get pulsing in the left hand with your 5th interval or just your single notes. Let's go to level 3. It's a lot of fun. Stick with me, guys. Hopefully so far this has been eye-opening for you. Okay, so for level 3 here, I'm going to keep my left hand pumping on 5th intervals in the left hand as you learned in level 2. Now for level 3, remember at the beginning of the video how I said your right hand needs to do a 2 finger and then your pinky up here. And the reason why we're not using our thumb is because we need to leave our thumb open to anchor down here to fill out our right hand. And so let me teach you a little bit of theory. Before I do that, let me show you what level 3 is going to sound like. Watch my thumb in my right hand. Notice what my thumb's doing. Very interesting. Notice that my thumb, for all of the melody line notes, I'm hitting a G note down here. So instead of just going wise men say, I'm going wise men say. What am I doing? The idea is this. When you're playing in a key signature, you know that you're playing in a group of specific 7 notes, right? We went over that in level 2. We went over saying, hey, we know that in the key of C, we're playing these 7 notes and they work really well with one another. Now, what you need to understand for your right hand and to fill it out here with level 3 is you need to understand that what your thumb is going to do is your thumb is going to find the closest note that comprises the 1st, 3rd, or 5th note of the scale. Another way to think of it, let me explain, is you know from your major scale you have a total of 7 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What you can do in the major scale is identify the 1st note, the 3rd note, and the 5th note. 1st note, 3rd note, 5th note. There it is, right? And so that right there would be called the 1 chord. Let's not talk so much about the theory of chords right now, but I want you to identify that in level 3 here, your thumb is going to try to find the 1st, 3rd, or 5th note of your scale. So in the key of C, the 1st note's here, it's a C note. An E note would be our 3rd note, and 5th note would be G, right? So we have 1, there's 3 right there. There's 4 and there's 5. So 1, 3, 5. So a C, an E, or a G are viable options for our right hand thumb to anchor on. What am I talking about? If the melody line does this, wise men say, where should my thumb anchor? We said the first, third, or fifth note. Okay, so notice that the fifth note of the scale is the closest for me. It wouldn't make sense, this is a big stretch here, it wouldn't make sense to go all the way down to this E note with my thumb. Not at all. Rather, you want to choose a note that's really close to you here. So we can go wise. Notice my thumb is going to anchor on that G note as long as I can. Men, se. That's how you're going to accomplish filling out your right hand. Let's put it together with the left hand. So we have wise, men, se. Ooh, how rich does that sound? Notice how you're going from the most basic form of the song now to sounding a little bit more professional. Okay, so my thumb is anchoring on the first, third, or fifth note of the major scale, and it has to make sense, aka your thumb is not going to reach all the way down to this third note of the scale. No, the fifth note's right there, so we'll hit that. Now watch this, only. So for those melody line notes, what can you do? You can go only. Notice I'm still anchoring my thumb down here. Only fools. Now here, the melody line is on an F here. Now let's think to ourselves, we can anchor our note instead of on this G. Isn't the C an option, or even the E? Sure is. So when you go to this F note, you can change your anchor maybe to a C. That makes sense. So you can go only fools. So now I'm anchoring here to fill out my right hand melody. So remember, the anchoring part of your right hand goes to the first, third, or fifth note of the scale. And then the melody line will determine, which one of those notes is closest and makes most sense. So only fools, rush in. That's how I would do it. So only fools, here's just a simple melody line, rush in. Now instead of doing that, let me anchor with my C note down here. So we have only fools. It sounds so much better. Rush. And my C note is hitting every time as an anchor with the melody line. So the melody line pairs with that anchor. Now, there's two ways you could play this. You can go only fools rush in, or your anchor could be down here, which is a little bit more of a stretch. Notice how both sound good. Only fools rush in. Now, if you want to merge those two ideas together, and instead of just having your anchor on G, also put the anchor in on C, you have two anchors here, then you can start really taking your melody lines to a much more full, soulful feel. Watch this, only fools. What's happening here? You may have, at the beginning of the video, looked at my hand doing this, thought to yourself, oh my gosh, I don't know how to play those chords. Well, now you understand that the melody line is here, only fools rush in. So you know the simple part of the melody line, the single note, and now you understand why I'm choosing a C and a G down here, because it's part of the 1, the 3, and the 5, and it's underneath my melody line. So I'm having only fools. And then let's change the melody line down to this and still hit these two anchors. Don't move them. Rush. And then how would we play the word in? In. There it is. The melody line is here. The two anchors are here. So we have... There it is. So from the top, with our right hand doing this anchoring idea, let's play level 3. We have wise men. Oh, here, by the way, instead of just hitting this, we could anchor on the C as well. So we have wise men. Okay, that sounded weird with the C. I think it sounds better right there, so you could use your ear a little bit to figure out when the chords sounded a little awkward. That sounds awkward, so I moved my middle note to here. Now, if you're thinking, well, Nick, you just confused me. Well, let's just not play that second anchor note. Let's just keep it as the G on the anchor here. We have wise men. Melody line is here, anchor is here, men. And then we have se. Okay, so I'm anchoring still here. And then only fools. I'm going to go with the two anchors. Fools rush anchoring there. Look at the two anchors. Okay, that's how I would play level 3. If this has been super helpful for you, be sure to comment down below before we go over level 4 here in the video. Check the comments or descriptions for my free book where you can learn a little bit more about all of these ideas. These are really powerful, simple, yet powerful ideas that I can show you in my free book that you can get. Okay, it's linked down below in the description or the comments. I'll teach you the muscle memory that I have in my hands. I'll get that into your hands using 5 exercises. Let's jump into level 4 here. So for level 4, what we're going to do is now to enhance our melody line. What's left to do? We've almost exhausted, quite a few of our fingers and the span of our fingers. We're pretty tapped out here. So what's the next level to really enhancing your melody lines and filling them out? Well, it's rhythm. If you can find a way here in level 4 to get down this little idea of rhythm, then you are going to be able to play this. Okay, let me play it for you and then I'll teach it to you. So we have wise, then say right, left, left, right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left, right. Only fools. Oh, what am I doing there? Okay, so on the 3rd chord, the melody line gives us some space. We have wise men say. We have 4 counts there, and the words are drawn out, so the melody line's kind of, giving us space to fill in. What do we do? How do I get our melody lines to be a little bit more soulful? We add rhythm. And so what you're going to do when you get to this A minor chord is you're going to go wise men. Watch this. Say, you're going to hit the chord. So everything all together. 1, right, left, left, right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left, right. So all I'm doing is I'm going 1. I'm calling that 1 when I'm hitting together. So I'm going together, right, left, left, right. Right, left, left, right. Practice that. Now, if you can't get that down on the piano, go right, right, left, left, right. Right, left, left, right. So notice that I'm tapping it out. So I'm going right, left, left, right. All nice and even. Right, left, left, right. Right, left, left, right. Say it out loud and tap it on your lap. So 1, right, left, left, right. Right, left, left, right. Right, left, left, right. Okay? That idea right there is incredibly powerful, and it triggers your hands to feeling the rhythm. Okay, if you can find a way to get these little movements down, that's what I go over in my free book. You can check it out up here or in the description. But in the book, I talk about these muscle memory triggers. And so what I'm giving you here in level 4 is one of the muscle memory triggers, right, left, left, right. That allows you to feel the rhythm of the song and specifically nail down 16th note placement. If you don't know what that is, don't worry. It's just essentially you're tying yourself a little bit more to the emotion and the rhythm of the song. So we have together, right, left, left, right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left, right. Only fools rush. And then on the word in, we'll also do this. 1, right, left, left, right, right, left, left, right. What you can do in level 4 here, instead of doing the right, left, left, right over and over, right, left, left, right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left, right. Instead of doing that, you could do it maybe 1 or 2 times. Then after that, just repeat your right hand in an interesting way. The idea here is 1, right, left, left, right, right, left, left, right, and the right hand keeps repeating. The idea is this. When you do the right, left, left, right movement, what you're doing, like I've mentioned already, is you're tying yourself to the rhythm. You're getting a good sense of where you're at in the rhythm of the song. And so the idea is that once you do that movement, you can then release your right hand to try to repeat in an interesting way since you're connected to the rhythm of the song. So you might go, oh, only fools rush. Watch my right hand. In, right, left, left, right, and the right hand keeps repeating. I can't help falling in love with. So, if you tried that on the 3rd chord here, so we have wise men, 1, right, left, left, right, the right hand keeps repeating into the next chord. See how that works? So this is how I approach my melody lines and filling them out. Notice how, yes, there was theory that was needed, but hopefully it gave you some structure, and you now understand what I call the 4 levels to filling out your melody lines on the piano. As always, guys, thanks for making it all the way to the end if you stuck with me. And make sure to subscribe, like the video, comment down below if you'd like me to go over a specific topic. I'm going to start posting much more here on YouTube. I currently have around 250,000 subscribers at the time of this, 250,000 subscribers, excuse me, at the time of this video. But now I'm really going to start ramping things up. I do want you guys to check out my new book. It's free. All you have to do is pay shipping and handling for the book. So you can check that out up here, or links in the description or the comments. I'll catch you guys in another video. Let me know how much this helped, and share it with someone who loves piano and might need some of this structure. The 4 levels to playing melody lines and filling them out on piano. I'll catch you guys in another video.